This is Obsto. You're listening to the Rising Rush podcast, where everything here is dry like the desert.
Yup.
Pretty much.
All right, welcome to the Rising Rush podcast, where we talk everything Dragon Ball Legends related, such as news, meta, hot takes, you name it. I'm your host, A-Town, alongside our co-hosts, Obsto, Desla, and Glow. And we're going to kick things off with the weekly reset as of the 18th of December. First things first, we've got the Legends Fest Part 2 that currently continues, Snooze Fest. And they dropped a hit earlier this morning with some white text saying, "I'll show you the real Legends Festival." I wonder what that means. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We've also got some additional sales going on. The Festival Celebrate O-Bots. That's currently here providing CC and Legends Limited Z Power, a total of 300. That package will be available through the 25th of December. So if you need some CC and some LFZ power, cop that. We've also got the Limit Break banner that is live through the 23rd of December. So if you need any teams that need that Z power, definitely pick that up so you can get them stars up. The Dragon Ball Daima run-up gift that is currently available since the episode drops this Friday. So go ahead and pick up your gifts and tickets so you can get some more sleeves. We've also got two Ultra Rising banners that return. We've got Call Me Super Vegito and Fusion Reborn. That's going to be live through the 28th of December. Perfect timing because of the Plat equip. We've also got the Line 'em Up Festival Food Tour that arrives in game, and that's going to be going through the 1st of January of 2025. Co-op is also reset, with the boss being the Majin Vegeta. We also got another Daime equip that comes with the co-op. That's going to be available through the 8th of January. We've also got the Legends Battle Royale. That's live as of now through the 25th of December, featuring the tags Weapon Wielder, Future, and Majin Buu Saga. Boo! We've also got the Ultra Space Time Rush Super. That's live through the 15th of January. So we've got some more ways to get the medals, etc. And then we also got the regular Ultra Space Time Rush that reset. That'll be available in game. Again, we've got the Ultra Gogeta Plat that's available. We'll break that down and see if it brings it to meta relevant standards or if it's just DOA. We've also got the Universe Strongest Guild Ultimate Brawl of 2024. That begins on the 24th of December, and that'll be going through the 7th of January. Tournament of Power is also reset, and then I believe that is it. So we're at the tail end of part 2, and with the release of the Super Saiyan 3 LF Goku and the Super Saiyan Daima, I mean, the hype, we thought they were going to drop some heat since part 1 didn't really hit the mark, but even then, now there's been a lot of anger just spread within the community. I've seen a bunch of videos, a bunch of content creators are doing like assessment talks and stuff, just taking a temperature check of how everybody else is feeling, how the devs kind of just let this whole Legends Fest down and just doesn't look good at this point. And even with the next parts that are coming up, people are even speculating that won't be enough to save the Legends Fest. We'll start off with you, Desla. Based on just how things have been going, like, how are you feeling about Legends Fest? Do you think it's DOA at this point?
It's the worst celebration we've ever been given.
Oof.
Like, no contest at all.
And I definitely agree with that, with just how lackluster things have been. It feels like they put Daima all in one basket, hoping that was going to bring in the hype, and then releasing the things that we don't want, which is more Majin Buu Saga buffs. But it just doesn't feel good here. But I mean, overall, do you think this is going to cause people to quit the game and not even summon for part 3? Or do you think people are going to summon anyways?
People will come back for part 3 because at the end of the day, we still have those, meathead ride or dies that like the series for the wrong reasons. And that would be for MUI, having shiny hair and big muscles and punching hard and all that kind of stuff. So inevitably, those people will come back and summon and spend money. So there's that. Inevitably, that'll happen. But again, what those people don't understand is that while they're filling the pockets of the company that makes these characters, what's going to end up happening for people who, stick around and actually play the game is that it's going to only get worse, because if you have even a remote experience with this game in terms of how MUIs or UIs in general work, as far as how they interact with different characters and all that, they are miserable to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think it's bad now, you ain't seen... When the text says, "I'll show you a real Legends Festival," they absolutely, they fully intend to show you what they mean real soon.
Jesus. And it's all to blame with the leader slot. They really need to do something about this, because this shit is crazy, man. But what about you, Glow? What is your temperature check for part 2 right now? Are you also agreeing with the sentiment of what the community is feeling, or do you feel a little indifferent?
Temperature-wise, it's frigid cold. I mean, I agree with that. So this is probably the worst celebration we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's even close. Like, we've had celebrate. I don't think, like, it's so bad that I'm like, if we're going by Annie's and Fests, all Annie's and all Fests, this is the worst one, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm generally considering, like, in celebrations in general, like, how many monthly celebrations are actually worse than this?
Not many.
Not many at all.
Not many. Like that's pretty bad for a fest, especially a fest that needed to be good because we're coming off of a really shitty meta. Like we were already like before, what was it? What year was Blue Bros? Was that 2022?
Ubros was 23.
23.
Yeah, Blue Bros 23. We were coming off a really shitty meta of essentially the Zenkai meta where Saiyans and essentially Zenkai teams were running around like crazy. Like that
Oh,
was
you're talking
Hay
about
that
the
was
Blue Bros. I thought you meant the Boo Bros from last year.
no
Okay,
blue
my
bros.
mistake.
That's 2022.
That was, yeah, I think it was. I could be wrong.
Yeah, they were coming off the like unkillable Saiyan meta with SS3 Goku, Nameku, and Halo Vegeta. And that meta was absolutely hell because LF hybrids with Revhan, FSK, and Future Gohan was still existing. Like we were genuinely dealing with just some really bad stuff, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy because that fest literally saved the game that during that time for a lot of people because it killed off that meta and gave us sort of hope. It gave us Boo Bros. It gave us USG, but it really sucks now because you look at part one barely did anything. Like, sure, VB gave an answer to deal with MV Gauge, but like it just also gave MV a great partner.
Yep.
You have Rose, who is DOA. Like Rose is genuine dog shit.
Hey, hey,
And you look
hey.
at parts.
He's not that
I mean,
bad.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Either you're good, either you're busted or you're bad. There's no in between.
Yep.
And then we look at like part two, and for all the people who were on Twitter telling me Diamond's hype, you're lying. Where your Diamond copies at? Where your Diamond Crew copies at? Because it looked like you're not summoning. Because like, come on now, let's not lie. Don't tell me it's hype and then you not summoning. Like, come on now, put your money where your mouth is. Let's be for real, bro. Like, it wasn't hype enough. Diamond can be cool, yes, but it's not hype. The reality shows that you guys were a vocal minority and an annoying one to be matter of fact. And then we look at SS3 Goku, most tone deaf choice I've ever seen in my life. Literally, if someone said don't shoot, the devs would shoot.
Full mag.
Like it's so dumb.
Yeah.
So now we're in a situation where part one was ass, part two was ass, and and then we're gonna drop part three, and the implied unit for part three is gonna make the game even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we really have to look forward to?
A worse meta?
End of service.
Oh no, not that bad.
Exactly.
It's that
I'm
bad.
not gonna say it's listen. I'm not gonna say it's end of service because like the game's gonna get fucking carried by the fact that it's done like it's Dragon Ball Z. No one's like we can't deny that you're gonna get carried because you're Dragon Ball Z. But to say that like you're going to get lower revenue and like more people are gonna stop playing, yes, it's the matter of fact. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to play this game no more because you guys took a game that had a lot of potential for a mobile PvP game and ruined it. Compared to like how they're treating how One Piece does their mobile game. They have genuine esports competitions and are making like 10K for first place, bro. 10K off a mobile game, bro. And what are we doing? A meetup with Toshi just for him to tell us absolutely nothing of use.
Mm.
And it's no hate to Toshi, man. Like
He's just a
I
community manager,
understand.
just in harm's way.
Yeah. Like that's the big thing, bro. And I feel bad for Toshi that like this is no genuine hate to you, but it sucks that you're the poster boy for like all the problems with this game because you're the community manager. When the community's in a very bad mood, which 9 out of 10 times it is,
Mm-hmm.
like the game's not helpful. And neither are the suck ups who tell us that, oh, you guys being ungrateful, there's nothing wrong with the game. No, there is things wrong with the game. Like stop being a bootlicker.
Yeah, like you have to be critical on the products that you like, and especially seeing it at like a business sense, where it's technically like software as a service. People play the game and they put money in the game, and they really go
Yeah.
based off of customer satisfaction. If the customer is not satisfied, i.e., us players, then the game is going to do bad. Just that simple.
Yeah. Especially considering there's so many things we've been complaining about the game for years now, and they refuse to change them.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells us that, like, at the end of the day, like, you guys talk with your money, and despite all the bad things that we have in this game, y'all still spend money on the game.
Yeah, like it's pretty bad. But I mean, we'll have to see how things go with part 3. All I know is this: there's no saving fest. It's not going to go from terrible to the best celebration ever. Because right now, 50%, I'd say, because we might get a part 4. since it's Legends Fest. I don't know if we're going to just stick to part 3. We might get a part 4 just to kind of end it up like an after party or whatever the case may be. But when you're half shit, if the other half is great, you're back in the middle, going to be okay. So, but what about you, Opsto?
Yeah.
What do you think of the temperature check here based on part 2? Are you satisfied with Cell Frieza, or are you also agreeing with the current temperature with the community of just not being happy with the game overall?
Okay, bias aside from Celza, the best week we've had in this entire fest was the week like 2-3 weeks ago when we got Zenkai, Purple Vegeta, and the equip for Sword of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
That week was really good. Unironically, why can't we do that again? Like, why the fuck? But no, the temperature of this entire event is in the fucking freezer. Nothing's gonna save this. It's by far the worst celebration we've ever had. And even then, the only thing that comes close is the 2nd anniversary, but it's still not a high bar to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you got the lowest bar and you barely skip by that, I mean, you're dead before last. Like you can't really do much about that. But I did hear some community notes stating one thing that would somewhat salvage Fest is Zenkaiing Android 17 and 18. Do you think that'll be enough to make people push for a meta reset, or do you think they'll have no impact?
Meta-wise, that would actually help the game.
It
But
would,
it depends on how
unironically.
good because right now the game has too much bulk. It has too much bulk, too much endurance. If they themselves because they're uncancelable endurance, if they themselves were like capable enough Zenkai, and not no Fugazi fucking Green Trunks bullshit, then they can actually do something. It would give androids a new red, and because androids can run multiple like red Zenkai benches, it would definitely help them.
Mm-hmm.
The blues in the meta are really only turles, so they would have like definitely some good value there.
And
It would
plus, you can
definitely
just
help.
switch to 18.
Yep.
Yeah, and you could always switch to 18. So like Zenkai wise, they definitely would help, but it's like I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the devs have really genuinely fucked up the game here, and our only hope is that this is not a 1 month fix or a one celebration fix. This is, I think, we're just gonna be stuck with this meta till possibly well into the next year.
So we're going to need to have this
They
game
need-
under construction.
Yeah, they need to do some fucking magic.
We need some of that diamond magic.
No,
Like,
I mean,
think,
but not like that.
like I genuinely think the first 6 months of next year they can't fuck up a single time.
I don't know if they're going to stick to that note, though. With no room of error, like they're not going to be hitting.
None. Like the game is in such a bad place. People don't realize, like, for a fest, we barely or didn't even crack top 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I can't remember the last time we didn't do that for fest. I can't remember the last time we did that for fest, where like we just didn't crack top 10 or barely crack top 10.
Yeah, global.
Because even though we don't really get top grossing, we still hover around top 3, top 5. But like the fact that we're like 10 and 11 is really bad.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help when the CC sales suck. Like the packaging and stuff that they drop for the game, none of it has been deals. It's been more expensive just to get CC, which blows my mind.
That 6K like CC deal that like literally is worse value than just getting the monthlies, bro. Like it truly like puts a cherry on top to cement the fact that they're not thinking before they do shit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially during this time. It's not happening. Like something internal has to be going on, because that kind of shit, like if it even had like a one pass over, like, you know, a second set of eyes looking at it, it would not happen.
Yep.
But it did.
It's wild. But for the 17 and 18, if they do decide to Zenkai them part 3, Opsto, what would you want to see on that Zenkai to make them push for that meta reset? Like, what are they going to need to even do that?
So for real, like about a month and a half ago, I actually made a Zenkai concept for them. Because everyone was thinking, oh, hey, we're going to get like 3 LF Zenkais for Fest, like when we were all so optimistic about this trash. But let me see what I put on there.
Because, I mean, at this point, like, it just can't, like, they can't fail this Zenkai. Like, embedded in its kit, it always feels like they're doing good as is. But with so much disruption and nullify this, nullify that, ignore this, ignore that, they're going to have to be able to do some kind of damage. So I'm really curious on what's going to push the needle to the point where Maj and Vegeta is going to be scared to fight against them.
So, For what I put on my concept, if you actually look at their base kit, they're not too bad in such a state right now.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, as a stacking character, if you can actually get those stacks even today, they'll be doing fucking nuts damage.
Yep.
So what I did is I essentially just gave them a higher starting damage. I gave them like just base card draw speed because they didn't have that. Because back then you could get by without having that if you had a way to draw cards a lot, which they do. They certainly do. I gave them ways to switch out from each other faster. I fed a little bit more into each other roles, where 17 is like the more utility, the healer, the defensive type, where 18 is just the offensive juggernaut.
Mm-hmm.
But I just gave them just a little bit more things that they needed, like, of course, like higher numbers. That was the biggest thing I gave them, because that's all they really need, aside from like easy cover null.
Interesting.
But apparently it's hard to give units easy cover null, because Super Saiyan 2 Goku doesn't even have it until he uses a green card.
And
Fucking 2022 ass shit.
And then you look at green trunks and ugh.
He only gets it twice for 30 timer counts. So you can easily waste that shit. Because I've seen players pop double green card off one rip for top time events. I'm like, there goes all your cover null. You're not having any more.
Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes just seeing the devs do stuff just it makes me question the credentials of some of these people who work on this game. And it makes me question that it makes me question whether this is a dev issue or this is a management issue. Because from what I've heard from credible sources is that a lot of the things the devs do is also because management makes them do it. And part of the reason that makes me believe that Majin Buu Saga got so much glazing this year was because that management saw that we're promoting Daima this year. Daima is closely related to the Majin Buu Saga. So they were making essentially every game just push out these characters from Majin Buu Saga in your games. And that's what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me thinks that that's what ended up happening this year was that they kind of forced them to do more Majin Buu Saga stuff, and that's what happened. And they said, okay, make the characters good, and yeah. My problem is when the devs in Legends, like compare that to Dokkan. The Majin Buu Saga units that came this year were good. No one's denying that. However, the Majin Buu Saga units that came out this year were not overbearing or overpowerful, or not like easily number ones. You compare that to Legends, and the Legends Majin Buu Saga units were genuinely insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where my blame on the devs comes to. Because it does not matter whether you were supposed to put out these units for this year. There was no reason to make other units that bad and make them that good at the same time.
I agree. And they have plenty of like data to find. Like all they got to do is go on YouTube and look at like some of the bigger or the biggest content creators out there that do showcases on the daily and see exactly what these units are doing to other people. They could have put some guardrails on this stuff like this and go, you know what, Majin Buu Saga kind of strong. Let's not focus too much on this. Or, hey, let's add some additional representation instead of, pumping out the crazy stuff. Like, why do we have a new sparking Deborah when Daima is talking about Deborah's dad? Like, what are we doing? What's going on?
Exactly. Like, they could have had a little bit more creative with some of the stuff doing, but they chose. Like, Majin Vegeta was way, way overdue. So was 3Ku. The problem is you made Majin Vegeta quite possibly a top 3 worst release in the game, like most insufferable release to fight against. Like, the fact that people are comparing Majin Vegeta to FSK and BB, that's shameful for the devs.
Mm-hmm.
You literally said we know for a fact that from the devs, FSK and BB were 2 units that they were genuinely ashamed of releasing because of how bad they were for the game and for the community. And you do the exact same thing with MV. Like, that goes back to the whole playtesting thing. You guys are like, the devs are dishonest. Because if you knew very well how bad those units were for the community, you would not repeat this again.
I wonder if their caveat was, well, Vegeta Clan is always bad. Let's make them the most insufferable tag in the game.
People want tags to be good. They don't want them to be insufferable. And I don't understand how the devs don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that they try to do better, just, connecting more with the community so they cannot repeat things like this. We
know it's going to happen again. They don't listen to us.
hopefully, if they listen to this podcast, hopefully they take some notes. If not, then I guess we'll just have to brace ourselves for what's to come within the next coming months or within the next coming days with the whole MUI talk. But as for my temperature gauge of just how things have been going, I mean, it's very saddening on how they fumbled the end of year celebration. Like if this was just a regular monthly celebration, I wouldn't put too much energy to it, but this is like the end all be all. You encompass all of the changes that you've done this year. You celebrate all of the banners, all of the success, and then you just drop the ball the way that the devs have. And, you know, I understand devs, sometimes you guys have a hard job. I don't know what directive you guys are listening to push out these type of units or, you know, doing any play testing on the meta, but you have to listen to the player base. You have to listen to the customers and release things based on what we want. Because if you don't, then you're just going to cause people to be let down and just grow negativity towards the game and then essentially quit or drop the game overall. You don't want that to happen on your biggest celebration of the year. Like, come on, we got to do better. And this is just me speaking critically. You guys have to do better. It's just that simple. And hopefully within the next coming months, you guys do push for a meta reset and Zenkai some units or come out with some healthy units, do some gating towards this infinite combo meta, add maybe a battle system change to not people sit there for 179 timer counts as their opponent combos forever. Like something's got to give. You know what I mean? And I've jumped in on a couple of like community posts and discords, etc., just to kind of get what people are saying. Dally put up a point saying that, you know, maybe once you hit 99, you run out of key or something of the sort, or people just saying like, you know, just make their damage 0. Like there's got to be a battle system change to stop this shit because this is ridiculous. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about the Ultra Super Gogeta Plat. So, Glow, you're the movie man. Do you have the Ultra Gogeta 14 or do you have him at a high stars?
I have him 10 stars.
So what do you think? Is this making him meta relevant again? Or is he just a person with no home?
He's sadly a person with no home. I think it really sucks though, because like his kit is actually like with the Plat, he's actually a really good unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like if his team was even competent, like strike fusions, because realistically, if you're running him on fusions, you're running him, VB, and Go Tanks, which honestly they're just better setups you can run. And even then he does solid. But like if his teams were even more competent and had like actual good rush, consistent rush protection and stuff like that, I think he'd honestly have an argument for top 10 and maybe as high as like 7.
And what about his damage overall? I've seen people do some crazy damage with the blue card, and you know they did add the ability of him having complete neutral on damage sustained once he gets into the battlefield. Is that making a difference, even though he only has 50 cut?
I think the type neutral offensively is like really what helps him, because the fact that he has that just essentially means that and the fact that it's uncancelable too just means that blue card is just gonna hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially against green units, like a drop combo blue card, especially after you've like ramped up a bit, that's gonna kill somebody. I think he got so much value off of this Plat, but it's just his teams, man. Like also the fact like defensively he's not gonna be eating great hits, because even with the type neutral defensively, it's cool, but it's not gonna save him forever. But he does get the massive heals. He gets 30% 3 times when he's below 50.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So so he has way better sustainability.
Well, that makes sense. And then also I've seen they made changes to the actual slots on the Ultra by adding the 4th slot. Him getting the double card draw speed for 10 timer counts and having the ability to not have his key being reduced. He's also receptible to like cost increase and card destruction. Is he being stopped during a combo, or is he still able to just do a bunch of damage?
If the unit that is blocking, like cover changing him, has like key reduction, then he kind of just ignores it. If they had card cost increase, if he has a green card, they ignore it. He ignores it too. It's just card destruction that really cooks him right now. But I mean, he can do good combos. I'm not gonna lie and hate on that either.
Mm-hmm. I see. I'm surprised they didn't do anything with his green card though. Like his green card only gives 30 key or something like that, but it doesn't give a card. Does his green card feel good to use, or is it just not worth using it when running him?
It feels good because it's just extra cover now.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. It's extra cover null, and it gets rid of your downgrades.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's helpful. So if his cards are increased, you get to remove those debuffs and continue on with them. But you mentioned that based on this current Plat equip, he barely makes top 10 at the highest 7. With the other units, directly competition such as Turles and fusing Vegito Blue or fusing Super Vegito, do you think people will run him over those two on his respective teams, or are those two units still better than him?
He will never replace Turles. Using SV, I don't want to say there's an argument, but I also want to bring up the fact that there's so much anti-rush stuff that it does hurt fusing SV. But there's also a lot of anti-ultimate stuff which hurts Super Gogeta, but Super Gogeta does have the ability to more so spawn blues. So
Yeah.
I think this might be an argument for Super Gogeta and fusing Super Vegito, but for Turles, absolutely not.
So Turles still king. Maybe an argument to use him over fusions, but outside of that, I mean, it sounds like the meta is still what the meta is. Like, no one is scared. We got multiple greens that bend this man over. Pause. But outside of that, I mean, he's not doing anything else to anybody else. Like, even Gotenks, is he a threat? Like, is Gotenks scared of him, or is it just business as usual?
I mean, Gotenks is still gonna be like defensive. Gotenks really doesn't care. Gotenks really like he's not scared by him, but like it does introduce another blue to help try and deal with Daimogoku and him. Because like the only real blues you see are Turles, Sword of Hope, and like the occasional like Cells and fusing SV. Gotenks kind of just is still Gotenks. He kind of really does not care. Because as much as he can do damage to Gotenks can go type neutral and just hurt him right back.
Dang. Well, I guess that's unfortunate for him. But I mean, if people have him at higher stars, definitely go ahead and use him. If you have, if you're running movies and you have Turles, you can do like maybe a blue purple setup or something like that. But just don't. Especially with all these other greens, might as well not. But what about you, Desla? What do you think of this overall equipment for the Super Gogeta? Do you think that it has put him in a top 10 list, or is it just a novelty?
It's a novelty, and Ultra Broly gaps this. It's really not even close. The problem, unfortunately, with that, though, is that, the difference will be that, Gogeta is a fusion, and Broly is not. So, inevitably, people will have a higher chance to have Gogeta in their box than they would Broly. Which is the reason why, if you at least were in, North America queue, you almost never saw Broly, at least on my side of things. I think I ran a Broly with his equip, like, less than 5 times. So... there's that. Not that he was bad, but just, again, no one had the fucker. So, it is what it is. But, no, it's just unfortunate because, again, it's the same shit they did with Part 2, where they sabotaged Black by trying to drop a Majin Vegeta counter with Daimogoku, but all it did was just hurt Rose. Because Rose does not have the ability to, like, take away buff effects on blue card.
Yep.
So he can easily get clipped by his blues and just die. So that's the problem there. Meanwhile, Vegeta has that, so it's just like you're just sitting there wondering, like, what the fuck are we doing? So, you have that issue with this Gogeta in comparison because of the fact that, again, you have these uber dominant 2 greens that are running the game right now with Majin Vegeta, to where, I'm sorry, but like you're actively nerfing your team if you're using him over other options that are in the top 10 right now, which I can tell you right now, Gogeta is not a part of at all.
Jeez.
Just because, again, like, no team that really works well for him at all, that has even remotely the same level of like meta competent units that any other team has right now that you queue into all the time. So that's 1. 2, he's a fucking blue in a green world. So, great, you go neutral sometimes, but we don't care.
Yep.
That's 2. And then 3, like, they locked his bullshit. They still locked this bullshit behind having multiple copies.
That part.
So it's just a thing of where, again, yeah, it's cool you gave that nice little free amount of, Z power form in the fucking shop for Daima, but like, who cares? He's literally like garbage without the star requirement. So why the fuck would you even bother?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but regardless, I think that he genuinely is just like waste of space. Shouldn't have gotten the equip. It should have been someone completely different in comparison because this just has no impact. Like you just said, it's a novelty and nothing more.
See, and you brought up a good point. The copies. What pissed me off about this unit really is I mean, the Daima event is going on right now, and if you collect enough coins, you're able to obtain essentially 777 Z power for this unit. Now, if you use your coins to grab the 777 Z power, you still need to pull him twice to get the 4th slot. Because even with that and one full pull, you still will not have enough to push him over 7 stars.
If you exchange for him after this equip drop, you're a fool.
But there are people who have this. I guess they just wanted the unit or whatever the case may be. But you only.
You're a special kind of idiot.
Good job wasting 9 weeks.
Yeah, it's sorry for the individuals who pulled the 777 Z power, but first off,
I'm not. You're dumb.
You only get to do it once, and then you still got to pull twice. And mind you, pulling an Ultra has to be the hardest thing in this game because of their summoning rates. And there's no pity system. So you can go and spend 25k CC for one copy and finally get them and still not have enough. So then you got to go further in the banner to pull them even more just so you can get that second copy just to not be top 10. Let that sink in just for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you, Ops? So what do you think the equip has done? Have you ran into this unit at all in PvP? Has he made any kind of impact?
He does good damage. Damage that's done to him is devastating to him.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot take any hits. He has a mini version of the Tamagami passive, but he's got nothing else defensive-wise against that. And sure, he goes permanent defensive neutral, but when he's taking that much damage at neutral, it doesn't even really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, like if Strike Fusion was even remotely good right now, he'd be okay, but he's still not going to be like top 15 because all he's got right now is just damage.
Yeah. Now, you also brought up a good point because his sustain is only based off of his heals because he heals, 30%, 3 times or something like that.
Yeah, only 3 times, and you're going to be hitting that in like 2 cards.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a unit that reduces their healing, i.e. the Super Saiyan 3 Goku that just dropped, that's a green, those heals don't mean anything. And you'll just push through them like it's nothing. So, I mean, I don't know, man. The devs are very questionable about this. And, you know, the Plat seems cool. I've seen some people glazing and go, man, he's top 10. I just don't see it with just, his green card being annoying because it doesn't give a card. So, we're 2023 all over again. Yeah, you get cover null. Yeah, you heal 3 times for 30%, but still, like, what's going to stop the most recent part 2 unit from bending them over? Pause. So, yeah, I don't see it. But I think everybody has got their overall assessment with just how this unit is doing in the meta. Yeah, it was cool. It was nice. Now people can actually use them when you have them at higher stars. But when you're getting to the top ranks and you're seeing double green, yellow, good luck. Let me know what that Super Gogeta is doing. And I'm not saying that you can't do well with him. To just put the disclaimer there now. You put him in the right hands, you can definitely put in some work. But for an average player that loses priority in today's meta and you have Super Saiyan 3 punching you in the face and reducing your healing, he might not last a full combo. It won't get to 99 before he's dead. And you better switch. So, I don't know. We'll have to take it from there. But that's it for the meta-relevant stuff since it's such a dry week. Now we're going to move on and talk about the part 2 tier list, which Glow has prepared a list for us. So we're just going to go through his list and give our opinions on the numbers, just like we always do, and see where we land. Take it away, Glow.
So, top 10. For number 10, I got Sword of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Any options? Okay, Sword of Hope, number 10. Number 9, I got Ulton. Number 8, I got Tamagotchi. Or how the hell you
Tamagami.
say it? Tamagami. Number 7, I have Triku. Number 6, I have Turles. Number 5, I have Daima Goku. Number 4, I have 3Ku. Number 3, I have Gotenks. Number 2, I have VB. And number 1, I have MV.
So it looks like the top 4 is pretty much going to be consistent probably with everybody. But let's start off with your number 10. Tell me why. What's why he made it there?
I think Sword of Hope is actually pretty solid for what he is intended to do. And just having the buff removal, I think the buff removal part is the part that really helps him.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the teams he can be ran on a bit more competent It makes Vegeta Clan a bit more better too
Mm-hmm.
as a whole tag. But like I said, like the 10 spot, I'm not ready. I'm not gonna fight to the death over 10.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's that crazy.
Yeah, because at that point you get into the honorable mentions, and there's a couple of that can probably get to that top 10 slot if just being known on there. As
Yeah.
for my number 10, I have the new Goku Black. I know I'm probably going to get hate for that, but like his play style, yeah, it seems very finicky because he doesn't get easier ways to dump the gauge. But if you're able to dump the gauge consistently, which you just got to play smart about it, switch out. And if you have a green or blue switch and we have priority, use the green and or blue and reset the gauge, you'll be fine. And every time the gauge refills back up, you're healing 25% HP and you're destroying your opponent's hand. Like it could be strong if you use it right. So, but that's just my opinion. Desla, who's your number 10?
If I had to come out with a list, I'm not really too bothered by Sort of Hope being there, so that's fine.
Okay, and Opsta, do you also agree with Sort of Hope being at number 10 as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and then your number 9. Why the number 9?
Ulton, it's really because he's on Majin Buu Saga. He's the best third I really think you can run on a pure Majin Buu Saga team. Well, the second best third you can run on a Majin Buu Saga team. If you're running MV, Gotenks, and 3Ku, that works. And if you want to replace either 3Ku or Gotenks with Ulton, it's really not that bad of a value because Ulton still has his own shenanigans that makes him good.
Yeah, I've noticed a downtick with Ultimate Gohan players because like you said, like the 3Ku kind of like took his spot. But I'm also noticing like nobody runs Evil Boo anymore. Is Evil Boo just not that good enough, or
He got replaced. He didn't need to be replaced, but he got replaced by 3Ku.
yeah, they're both green. They both share the same tag. You might as well use the more highly aggressive one, which we're in a high priority meta. So that makes sense. As for my number 9, I have Triku there. Desla, do you agree with Glow Spot with his number 9, or do you have somebody different?
It's the same thing for what he just gave as a reason for like him being like a nice secondary option, I guess, for Majin Buu Saga. But that's actually the point of contention for me, for why I would not have him on top 10 right now. Just because, again, like that core to me, it just if you have those three, yes, it's nice to have him as like a nice backup option. But that's been the running theme for this entire year, where like the backup options just get left in the dust and forgotten so fast for Majin Buu Saga. And not even that, like, purples just can't function right now because MV's in the game.
Yeah.
So,
he's scaring all the purples in the game. Like, outside of him, I don't think there's probably any other purple on the list. But
no.
That's scary. That's the kind of Majin Vegeta effect that has on the meta right now. It's just nuts. But what about you, Opso? Do you also agree with his number 9, or do you have somebody else different?
I guess I'll agree with that. Why not? I don't really see why not.
And then your number 8, Glow. Why are you number 8?
I have Tamagami number 8. Tamagami to me, I think Daimaku and Tamagami is the best duo in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that really hurts their team, obviously, is they don't have a good enough third on Daima. Glorio's nice, but he's not perfect. But I think the thing about Tamagami to me is he feels like a Garlic Jr. with better healing and better disruption and better offense. A better overall bulk, I'll still give to Garlic. But he feels like a more offensive Garlic Jr.
That makes sense. For my number 8, I actually have Ulhan, just because of just what you explained before, his shenanigans. But you also make a really good point that he's literally got kicked off his home, so he might only be stuck with Proud only. Desla, do you agree with Tamagami being at number 8, or would you have somebody else different?
I'd probably have him a little higher, honestly, because I've used him with Daimaku extensively, and it's like he just said, that's the best duo in the game right now. They worked so well together, and I'm telling you right now that Daima right now is one premium character away from being, like, problematic, and that can easily happen very soon with what we're going to have, and for God's sake, the episode we're getting, like, this Friday, with Vegeta fighting, like, the next Tamagami. Spoilers, I guess, whatever. But I think that if that Vegeta is really good, and surprisingly enough, they've actually bucked the trend to not like actually just fuck Vegeta over pretty much. I mean, that start of the year they did, but then they, I guess, had a complete 180 and were like, yeah, let's do the opposite. And, they did what they did. And I think if they do continue with the trend of making a Vegeta that's good, especially if he's on Daima, then if he's either like blue or green, then I generally do think that Daima is like, again, a problem. But it's just the lack of a third that's holding them back right now. But again, I do think that with confidence that Tamagami is the best purple in the game right now, easily.
Oh, hands down, for sure. And once Majin Vegeta gets deleted from the meta, he'll probably go up in the tier list because there won't be any other yellows to threaten him at that point.
Yep.
And then Opso, do you also agree with Tamagami's placement, or do you have somebody else different for number 8?
Tamagami can go up or down depending on what they do with Daima in the next coming weeks. But if Daima actually gets a good third, then I could actually see Tamagami rising to top 5 or even higher.
Interesting. All right. And then number 7, Glow, you had Triku. So Triku's still putting in that work?
I think Triku gets a lot of unnecessary hate, and I think he's actually still a really good unit for what he wants to do. I think the fact that, like, if you ignore MV, he honestly is like, there's no real like anti-unit that comes against it. Like, the only unit on like top 10 outside of MV who, if he's popped a green card, that gives him trouble is like maybe Daiba Goku.
Mm-hmm.
But like the thing is, at the end of the day, even against MV, he's still one of the few answers to ignore it, to like take away value from MV's gauge.
Yeah. And on top of that, he has the buff removal while he's on standby, right?
Whether he's in the field or on standby, he has the one-time like buff and upgrade removal whenever the enemy uses ult. Because Turles and Triku is, like I said, Daima Goku and Tamagami is the number 1 duo in the game. I think Turles and Triku is arguably 2 or 3. Second best or third best duo in the game.
Very interesting. And for Desla, do you also agree with his number 7 placement, or do you have Tamagami there, or what?
I'd probably have Tamagami over him just because the fact that right now, like, it's the issue again of the MV effect where the purples that he wants to ideally ward off just aren't an issue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And yes, he does have those nice moments against MV where he can get, like, kind of work around his shenanigans as far as, like, his gauge procking and going to a blue and all that kind of shit, which is nice, but the problem again is just that running him on any kind of comp outside of movies just is going to immediately nerf it because of their undying like obsession this year to like drop double defense Z abilities like for all premium releases, and it's just it hurts because yes, I'd love to run him, but like what the fuck am I going to use him on? Like what with Alt Han, him, and then Daima Goku? Yeah, 2 double defense, no fucking thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just unfortunate in that regard where unfortunately, like, yes, I think if we could have gone back in time and changed anything about what we got before this fest, MV should have been next year. I'll be completely honest with you. I would have been more than fine with him being the ultra pick for something next year, not here. Because there's no reason why he should have been yellow. Period. End of discussion. Triku was a more than fine enough counter to deal with G4. That was perfectly fine. There was no need to go past that, but they did, and the effect of that is that now his value has actually gone down because purples are in such a bad spot.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see like a lot of people's tier list that UG4 is not even on the list at all. On Fest,
as he shouldn't be.
Like on 6th year, like this man dominated and eclipsed the meta, but now even with his counter unique gauge, this man is nowhere in sight, and it's a great thing to see. I ain't gonna hold you. But as for my number 7, I do have Tamagami number 3, and the only reason why I don't have him higher is just because again, no Zenkai benches and his team. Like he really wants to be ran on Daima, which is the only other team that he can be ran on. There's no other weapon wheeler team you can really put him on to fully expand on his kit. But from a disruption standpoint, he's exactly what we need in this meta to help stop the combos, keep the opponent locked in so they can't switch and go into another unit to forever combo. Like we just need more of him for other tags, and have him be specified for those specific tags so it kills the whole like leader slot merchant type situation. Because this whole leader, like we're at a step where power creep is just too much, where they come out with a easy to use unit, you slap them on already an easy to use team, and now you can just play the game on auto battle, which is ridiculous. But hopefully we'll see more units, coming within the next banners or so that really puts a hold on Majin Vegeta and just stop the whole heavy combo meta, because I'm tired of this. And then what about you, Opso? Do you agree with Glow's number 7, or do you have Triku higher or lower?
I actually completely agree with him, where Triku is a very, very good unit still, and has a shit ton of utility with him, but like Desla said, the purples are in the mud right now.
Mm-hmm.
They really are, and thus his utility is going down. And again, he was more than fine being the sole counter to UG4. So why would they come out with Mr. Hitler himself, Majin Vegeta?
Yeah.
He wasn't needed at all, and even then they made him fucking yellow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very questionable. I don't know if they were just like, press the button, but UG4 is already go. Press the button. Press the goddamn button. And they just pressed the button. I don't know. But from 6 and up, it looks pretty consistent. So you have Turles there. I mean, there's no explanation, right? We know what Turles is doing. We know why he's there. He's great. And as for the rest of them, I mean, you got Diamond Goku number 5. We know what he's doing. Being able to just put a whole stop on Goku Black, bless his soul. You know, it's very upsetting. But why have him only at number 5 though? Why have him under Gotenks?
I think the flaw with Daima Goku really just comes down to the fact that he doesn't have a good third. I think he has obviously some flaws in his own kit, such as the availability of his type neutrality, and sometimes it can feel like his team and his hand can get clogged with blue cards. But I think overall, like, he's still a very good unit. He does, to me, he's like everything Goku Black should have been. For what their kid does. Like, he adds attack, he adds endurance, gives his team buff removal. Just in general, he's just a good offensive unit that he reminds me of like a Blue Beast.
Yeah.
Too. He reminds me of a Blue Beast. So like he's just supposed to be the like main focal point of his teams, and all his teams are supposed to work around him. But he just needs really honestly a good third.
Yeah. And hopefully with the next Diamond Banners, we'll probably get that good third real soon. The question is it going to be a 1% or is it going to be another LF, which we'll have to kind of see how that goes.
Yeah.
But Opso, do you also agree with Daima being at number 5, or do you have him higher or lower?
As a unit himself, I would place him above Green Super Saiyan 3 Goku, because at least Daima is doing some very unique things that not a lot of units can do, like an actually reliable snipe that you can get off very easily. And not only that, but his damage fucking skyrockets mid to late match.
Sure does.
While Goku is just, I like combos. Do you like combos? I like them. That's just a 3Q.
Too funny.
But because Daima as a team is really missing a crucial unit to help them, like an actual third, it hurts Daima. So I'd probably have to put him in 5.
All right. And then you, Desla, do you also agree with Daima Goku being a number 5, or do you have him higher or lower?
As unfortunate as it is to admit, as a acclaimed Daima Goku Glazer, I will have to concede and admit that right now they really need that third character to push Daima Goku to new heights pretty much, and that's not off the table because there are like literally a dozen characters they could drop in the next couple months that could easily get him to that point, so I'm not worried about that. Meanwhile, 3Q is, unless they're really stupid and I swear to God, if they go into January and they drop some kind of fucking LF Buhan, I'm gonna lose my shit. But anyway, unless they're stupid and they go to Buu Saga again for anytime soon, then I do think that we're in a good spot to where Daima Goku's future looks more promising than 3Q. So I will say for the time being, yes, 3Q has the edge just team-wise, but I'm telling you right now, very soon, table will flip, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that table to flip crazy, because
thank God
this ain't it.
Can't come sooner.
All right. And then as for 4 and up, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty consistent with what's there. You have the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which literally copied Transforming Vegeta Blue's homework. Then you also have Gotenks, and then Transforming Vegeta Blue, and then Maj Vegeta. I don't think there's much explanation needed for those guys since they are the meta, which is why things are as toxic as they are right now. So... but if you guys want to check out the list, Glow, is this posted on your Twitter account already or not yet?
Yes, I did post this on my Twitter already.
So if you guys want to check out that list and comment, definitely check out Glow's Twitter page. He has the list on there. And, say if you agree, disagree, or whatever the case may be, or if you're tired of the meta, definitely leave your responses below there. But that pretty much concludes all of the meta talks. Now on to the Dragon Ball related news. Again, we do have the new Daima episode that'll be airing this Friday, which Vegeta is going to be fighting. Oh, no spoilers. But who knows what's going to be happening? But based on the previews, you may be surprised on what takes place there. And then also, there were some, I guess, fake leaks dropping of some potential continuation of the Dragon Ball Super manga. We'll have to see if that's the case or not, but I remember seeing a post off of some anime page that Dragon Ball is supposed to be dropping some heat as of the 20th of December, which is tomorrow. So you guys will probably know more than me once this episode is actually live, and then we'll have to see if the leakers were real or if it is not the case. But that is it for this week's episode. Again, a little bit of a dry week, but we'll see exactly what happens once part 3 kick off. Don't forget to follow our social media accounts. Those are listed in the description box below. Remember, Glow does stream from time to time, and I do occasionally myself. So if you want to check us out on Twitch, or you can check out the channel on YouTube, don't hesitate to do that. And if you do enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your buddies. And, if you have any opinions, we're always open to listen to those and see what you got to say. Without further ado, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week.
See y'all.
Yeah, see y'all.
See ya.